Hey there, Capricorn. Welcome to your reading for this time next year. We are going to jump right in here. You have this Osiris card. It says Heavenly Messages, and you also have this Alchemy and Healing card. Each one of these rows is going to represent something different, and so your first row is messages you need to hear before this time next year, and that's what we're going to look at. These all are suggestions from all of you lovely people. So I did a post a couple weeks ago asking for suggestions, and that's where these ideas come from. So you have the Judgment card, the Emperor, and the Seven of Cups. The Judgment card can be like a little bit of a wake-up call, and and probably a new beginning with the Magician here. The Magician kind of changes the meaning of the Judgment card, because sometimes I feel the Magician is talking about like needing to have some sort of new beginning. These people are rising up out of these coffins, Capricorn, on the Judgment card. The coffin represents their old life, and outside the coffin represents their new life. And so they need to let go of everything from the past and completely step into the new. And what that, it seems to me like that's what you need to do here in this reading. And I think it would be, definitely a new beginning reading for sure. So I think like jumping into your new life is kind of the theme that needs to happen here. And you have that Osiris card that says Heavenly Messages on it. This is your higher self angel who is, trying to communicate with you or trying to guide you towards the newness. And, again, I think this is, very obvious to me as a reader because of Pluto going from Capricorn to Aquarius. I mean, the big question for Capricorn that's being asked is like, what part of your old life do you need to let go of and what new thing do you need to step into? I mean, it's just the astrology that you're dealing with at this time. So it kind of makes perfect sense to me. The problem is letting go of that past thing, that could be a little bit of a challenge. Because you could be being asked to reinvent yourself with the Magician, or reinvent your career or your business or whatever. And, obviously it's kind of hard to leave a comfort zone for most people. And so I feel the Judgment card is really saying, really embrace it. And that's what you could be working on. Like I said, this first row is going to be the messages you need to hear before this time next year. And, that could be the big thing that you're working on is, kind of like letting one thing go so you can have something better in your life. And this is definitely a theme that comes up a lot for you, Cap. You have the Emperor. I feel like the Emperor is about you taking control. The Emperor is controlling. He is kind of considered a controlling energy. But I kind of feel that you are embracing the energy of an Emperor. I've told this story before, Capricorn, that in a lot of ways, Capricorn is kind of like the Emperor, because Capricorn in Vedic astrology, for example, traditionally was the crocodile. And crocodiles are sit-and-wait predators, right? They sit in the water and they wait for food to come to them, and then when it shows up, they grab onto it. He has his armor on underneath his cloak, but he's sitting down in his throne, and he's not really doing anything. But when an opportunity presents itself, he's going to take it. So this is like a very, Capricorn energy to me, even though that's not what the Emperor represents. I think the sit and wait part is the part that is kind of being represented here with the Emperor. And I think, though, that you shouldn't wait any longer because you have the Magician. The Magician is like saying, the opportunity has already presented itself. You just need to kind of like jump on it. And it could be like an idea that you have because you have the Ace of Swords here. The Ace of Swords can be an idea, a plan. It could be a goal, something you want to accomplish. It's, the Ace of Swords is something that you are focused on. The Ace of Swords is laser-like focus. And then we go to the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups can represent being spoiled for choice. But I kind of get this feeling of like analyzing something to death here, Capricorn, where it's like you're thinking and thinking and thinking about something in your life. And, I always say with the Seven of Cups, it would be better to just get started, even if it's not perfect, whatever it is that you're wanting to get started on. Because, again, he's thinking of good things and bad things in these cups. But the problem is that the more he thinks, the more bad things he comes up with, or the more reasons he comes up with that something won't work, instead of, like, finding out. So sometimes I look at the Seven of Cups as a card of needing to make sure that you're not cheating yourself out of something that's really good for you. Again, I mean, as a person, I've talked myself out of so many things that probably could have been good, right? And so that's more the energy I get off the Seven of Cups. It's like saying, don't look for reasons as to like why something isn't going to work. When we look for reasons, we find them, both good and bad. And there are good and bad things in these cups. So I think if you look for good reasons, then good things will happen. But I also feel that whatever you're thinking about here, you just need to get started on. I mean, it literally could be anything. The Magician is pointing towards the Page of Cups, which could be an admirer, but these are meant to be bigger picture readings. And he has this fish in the cup there on the Page of Cups. And so the fish kind of could represent his dream or part of his dream or something that he wants to accomplish. I always say that he needs to capture that fish. He needs to bring that fish down to earth, whatever the dream is, and he needs to make it happen. And so I feel the Magician is saying, like, it's time to get started. With the Judgment card, you have the Nine of Pentacles. Really good. Gratitude and luxuries. If I was being super picky about the Nine of Pentacles, I would say that, maybe you are trying to protect your independence a little bit too much with the Nine of Pentacles. And Nine of Pentacles isn't bad or anything, but she is kind of like in this independent position. She's created her life to a certain point that she is comfortable with, but maybe she is avoiding things that would be good for her. She has 3 pentacles here and 6 pentacles over here. And if you are trying to protect yourself here, Capricorn, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what she needs to learn is that she can always keep 6 pentacles for herself, and she's willing to give 3 pentacles here to something new. So what that means is the pentacles don't have to be money. It could be time, effort, attention, energy, whatever. So it says she doesn't over-invest in anything new. She just kind of gives it enough energy to keep it going, and then she waits and sees if there is a return on the energy. So she doesn't over invest into things. And, maybe that's what you need to do if you're thinking about getting started, or even if this is love. Like, instead of like rushing right into it with the Knight of Swords here and giving someone like every last second that you have during the day, it might be better for you to stop worrying and invest a tiny little amount and just see how things go. You can't make it up. With the Emperor, you have the Six of Pentacles. Literally my card of planting seeds. I literally always say, literally, on this card, that you should plant a seed, see if it grows, see if it doesn't. If it grows, great, keep going. If it doesn't, make a change, do something different. And the thing with the Six of Pentacles is it doesn't even say we have to quit. There are 6 pentacles, or 6 seeds, showing up on this card. If you're working on a business opportunity, a work opportunity, or any opportunity for that matter, you can plant a couple of seeds, very small investments, and you can see if what works, what doesn't, and then double down on the good stuff. That's what the Six of Pentacles is really all about. So I would be making those tiny little, kind of like small investments. I was looking for another word there, but whatever. I would make those small investments and see what happens. Six of Pentacles is also equal give and take, but sometimes I do feel also that the Six of Pentacles says don't play too small for too long. At a certain point, we do have to commit to things, right? If we're working on a business, if you get enough evidence that the direction you're moving in is working, dive head first into the project, make it happen. So I kind of get both energies on that card. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Ace of Wands, another ace, another card of starting something. Ace of Wands is a card of initiation. We are in a time of initiation. we have Neptune in Aries. We have a bunch of other energy in Aries. Neptune will retrograde into Pisces. By this time next year, Neptune will officially be in Aries. It moves back into Aries January 26th of 2026. So I would definitely say that, starting things that you're passionate about would be good for you. It's also out with the old, in with the new. This castle in the background is crumbling, and so it can represent letting go of one thing in the past and starting something new. Clearly, with the Judgment card, you are being asked to let go of one thing so you can have something better in your life, and I definitely feel that could be a big theme for you at this time. You have that Alchemy card as well that says Alchemy and Healing. So the Ace of Wands could be about kind of like turning one thing into another as well. It could say that you're not completely letting go of something from the past. You're just reinventing it. And again, the Magician is the card of reinvention. The Magician is a card of turning one thing into another, and we'll talk about it right now. So that's that. Your next row is going to represent any big money shifts or career changes or financial changes that are coming in for you. You have this Building Blocks card and this Unfinished Symphony card. Yes, you have all the pieces, parts of the puzzle. And you just need to see something through to the end. I do kind of get the feeling that this new beginning is already something that you're practicing or working on. and it could be financially related. Even if you're retired, you could be working on something that you're putting together. That building blocks card says all the pieces of the puzzle are falling into place, but you just need to finish it. You need to keep going. The unfinished symphony card is, again, I think it's saying you need to see something through to the end, work-wise or business-wise, or again, even if you're retired, you could be working on something at home, or working on a personal project or whatever. And I feel that card is saying see it through to the end and finish it. Don't get 80% of the way there and quit and give up, right? I think you need to go all the way with this card. Maybe that's what this reading is saying, is to go all the way. You have the Five of Wands, the Magician, and the Queen of Swords. The Five of Wands can represent conflict or competition. This is probably what you should not be focusing on, other than, the one thing that I think would be good to focus on with the Five of Wands is what the competition is not doing. So, you could be thinking, oh, I want to start this business, but there's too much competition. That's not what you should focus on. If your heart is telling you to do something, you should do it. But what you should say is like, what gap can I fill? What is the competition not doing that I should be doing? And if you pay attention to that, I think you will probably discover some great things in work, business, career that will make you stand out, that will make you rise up above the competition, which is the whole point of the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is conflict and competition, but we can work with the energy and we can avoid it, or we can get around it by, looking at the competition, learning what they're doing, learning what they're not doing, and doing the opposite. You have the Magician, probably your most important card here. The Magician has this snake wrapped around his waist right here, and the snake is eating its own tail. It's an Ouroboros, represents reinvention. If I were a Capricorn, and I basically am, this is what I would be working on right here, is how you appear, the habits you have, the things that you do during the day. Do those things, habits, beliefs, the words that you use against yourself, the rules that you have for yourself, everything, the words that you say, the story you tell, does it match what you want? And if the answer is no, then I would start adopting some habits and start trying some things. It's kind of funny because I get this feeling that you are actually like very overqualified for something. And I don't mean that in a bad way. But I just think that you are maybe like underestimating your skills, or it's like you are underestimating the requirements that are required to be good at something, like a business skill or a work skill or whatever. It's like I just kind of he has all these tools in front of him right here, and those are all the ace versions of all the cards in the tarot, all the suits, I should say. And he has those skills, he has those tools. It's like the card, normally I wouldn't say this on the Magician, because normally I feel that he needs to pick a skill or a tool and use the right tool for the job. But I feel this is more saying that you are like very multifaceted. I think that you don't realize that you have multiple approaches to work or business. Five of Wands, right? It's like maybe the competition only has one approach, but you have like four. And I think you need to realize that here, Capricorn. It's like you are actually overqualified for something in a good way, in a way that will make you stand out. I would also be careful of like the requirements that you're putting on something. Like, I think you could be saying, like, to complete this project, I need to be up here. But really, actually, you only need to be down here. And so I wouldn't, like, I wouldn't over deliver. I would over deliver maybe a little bit in anything that you're working on, like work projects or whatever. But I wouldn't go, like, crazy with that Magician. You have the Queen of Swords. I feel like there's a lot of clarity. I feel pretty good about this Queen of Swords. I mean, I do like the Queen of Swords, but I feel like a little bit extra positive. She only has clouds halfway up her body, and it represents the fact that she's getting clarity on her future for the first time. But she has her back to the past to the past, and she's looking forward into the future. So I feel that there could be a lot of work clarity or business clarity, or again, even if you're retired, you could be getting clarity on like investments or your 401k or something like that. And of course, that would be a good thing. With the Five of Wands, you have the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is about walking away from something that no longer serves you, which we talked about with the Judgment card and the Magician. It's clear to me that you're making some sort of change. With the Five of Wands, it could say that, something that is competitive no longer serves you, and maybe you're entering into a different arena. You're entering into a different time. So this could actually say that you're separating, yourself away from the competition, which we actually talked about, and I think that would be a good thing. The thing about this, though, is that the Five of Wands can say, like, in work or business, maybe there's a certain way things are done. The Eight of Cups would say that doesn't fulfill you. He is not feeling fulfilled, and that's why he's walking away from these 8 cups, because he's going on the journey of fulfillment. And maybe what you're realizing is that you can find fulfillment doing what you do, but it just has to look different. And that's it, Capricorn. That's kind of what I get there. With the Magician, you have the Emperor. Yes, this is like taking control of the change. This would be you taking control of the reinvention, or you taking control of yourself, reinventing yourself, which I think would be good for you. Yeah, definitely like a bossed up energy, having the Emperor twice in your reading as well. With the Queen of Swords, you have the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles, like financial stability and wealth. So by this time next year, a lot of you could be feeling like you're in a better place. I'm not saying that it's like perfect or anything, but I do feel that you feel more secure, more stable, more. It's maybe your income is a little bit more predictable. I'm feeling as well. Also, I feel the same thing on that Ace of Swords. Like I'm getting this message of more predictability. So if your finances have been fluctuating a lot over the years, which they probably have based off your astrology, then I feel this is you just creating things that create more predictable income. And, obviously that would be a good thing with the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is also the card of convention. So as far as competition is concerned here, Capricorn, you could be noticing that the competition is stuck doing things like the old way. And so you innovating, coming up with new ways of doing things, all of that stuff could be very positive for you, because it could say that you're coming up with like different new ways of doing things, and that could lead to a lot more success. Next, we are going to look at what you need to hear right now. We're also going to be looking at some challenges in this row. So you clearly need to hear something. You have this ears wide open card, so pay attention. You also have this roots of abundance card as well, which is great. There could be a lot of abundance. I kind of feel like this card is saying, with the competition card, it's saying listen to what is not being said, or read between the lines. That might be where you get a lot of your good ideas not in what is being said, but what's not being said, and kind of looking at the opposite. So I would be paying attention, and not just in money, but all areas of your life. And clearly, there's something very abundant coming in here. You have the Ace of Swords, the Hermit, and the Page of Cups. There isn't much of a challenge here, which is good. I kind of feel maybe your challenge really is just the competition, but this row looks pretty good. The Ace of Swords is like a victory. The Ace of Swords could also be some sort of truth that is not being said, but if you pay attention and listen to what's not being said, you will discover what that truth is. So I would be, really paying attention with the Ace of Swords. But the Ace of Swords can definitely be a victory. And again, we go from the Seven of Cups up. So whatever you're dreaming about probably is going to be a victory if you make it happen. So I would be really focusing on your dreams with the Seven of Cups, or something that you're dreaming about that you are probably overcomplicating with thoughts of why it won't work with that Seven of Cups. And that is the energy I would work on with those cards. Funny enough, the Ace of Swords can also represent cutting something out of your life. We have a palm frond right here, an olive branch right there, and the palm fronds in the tarot can represent making a sacrifice. So some of you could be cutting something out for something better, which your readings have really been kind of going in that direction. But to me, it's astrology. It's not so much really like a psychic thing. You have the Hermit. This could be like one challenge that you have. You have to get out of Hermit mode. The Hermit isn't that big of a challenge, but it's very tempting to stay in Hermit mode in life. When something happens to us that's bad, and we go into Hermit mode, when we are in isolation, we can feel very protected. So, maybe it's time for you to shine your inner light, and it's time for you to kind of like claim something with the Hermit, which I actually just said to Taurus as well. So, this might be an earth sign thing going on right now, where you kind of need to claim who you are, and you need to do it in a big way. Like I always say, he needs to open this lantern up, and he needs to show the world what he's made of. He needs to kind of show the world his skills or his inner light in some way. And so I think it could be a good time for you to get out of Hermit mode. That could also include like needing to socialize and things like that. You have the Page of Cups. Again, I feel this is like some sort of idea or dream. Normally, I would just say dream on the Page of Cups, but I kind of am leaning more in the direction of an idea because of the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Wands. Both the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords can kind of just be like an idea, not so much a dream. Maybe you don't know that it's part of your dream yet, but it's like sometimes we can just have like an inspiration and we don't realize that it's going to get us closer to our dream life, but it feels more like an idea to me that you need to kind of like manifest on Earth. It could be like a plan, a goal, something like that. But I would get to work on those like random ideas that you pay attention to that just randomly pop up in your head. And it could be very random as well. So again, Emperor energy. When an opportunity presents itself, he takes it. And, I just get this feeling that between now and this time next year, that there could be just like a random ass thought that pops into your head or a random ass idea. And I would just explore it. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Two of Cups. The next row is going to represent love, but you do have some good love cards here. So if you're looking for love, definitely could be a new connection. I'm pretty sure I say this to you all the time, Capricorn, that it could be a person who's different than your usual type with that Two of Cups. So yeah, definitely could be a new love connection or a perfect match coming in for you. The Two of Cups is also you and your higher self sometimes. So it could be your higher self with the Judgment card telling you to cut something out of your life and allow something else in to your life or to get started on something else. So, anything you can do to tap into your higher self or communicate with your higher self would probably be a good idea with those two cards. It's I do kind of feel that if you are attracting love, you have the Emperor twice in the Two of Cups. Two of Cups can represent the ego, and I don't know, it's popping into my head that like I'm wondering if you are attracting love, if you're attracting a person where you're like, does this person have an ego, or do they have a right to be this confident? I don't know, that there's something about like how confident a person might make you a little bit nervous. When someone's like a little bit too confident, when they have, it's like kind of, they have like almost too many success stories or something like that. And again, I've been telling everyone, a lot of people have been getting the Justice card in the readings. You don't have it yet. That could change in a minute, but Justice is about looking at the evidence. So, again, maybe this person really is as successful as they say. I would just look at the evidence if you're meeting a person like that. With the Hermit, you have the High Priestess. Yeah, really good time to tap in. High Priestess is about intuition, trusting your inner voice, digging into mystery. But I kind of feel this could be like the mystery of an idea that's just like popping into your head. Or, it feels very random to me as well. You have the Knight of Swords in the next row. Knight of Swords can represent making a hasty decision, but that isn't always a bad thing with the Knight of Swords. Sometimes it's a good thing, so it just depends. And, I kind of feel that with the High Priestess. With the Page of Cups, you have the Six of Cups. Yeah, could be a soulmate coming in for some of you. With the Ace of Swords, though, the Six of Cups can represent a turnaround. It can say that, the Ace of Swords can be overcoming an obstacle. Sometimes I feel the Six of Cups is a gift from the universe. And usually the gift we receive from the Six of Cups is a turnaround, or we are overcoming some sort of obstacle. So I kind of feel that energy. This could be like an idea that gets you over an obstacle, or, something like that. Next, we are going to look at love and relationships. This is all relationships in your life. You have this Enchanted card and you have this love card. So definitely between now and this time next year, there could be love coming in for you if you want it. And it could be very magical with that Enchanted card. Now, you do start with the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords to me can be being too hasty or making a decision too quickly. So I don't feel bad about this, but I definitely feel that you should not, don't rush. If you feel like you're rushing, right? With the Knight of Swords. So maybe you need to slow things down and kind of just enjoy the relationship a little bit. It's like, I think some people get into relationships and they just want to rush right towards marriage instead of enjoying each other first, right? And so I kind of feel that energy with the Knight of Swords. Although, again, I don't feel too bad about this. I do feel that if you're attracting a person, that it could be something that does just, kind of move kind of quickly. It definitely could be an Aries, for sure, or an Emperor-type person with the Emperor showing up twice. You have the Four of Cups. I feel like you're finally getting something you want in love, is what I'm getting off of this Four of Cups. It's like I think you have maybe a history of, just attracting people who are close but not close enough. And I feel maybe some of you have been single for a while because maybe you just haven't found what you wanted. And if you want love, I kind of feel this could be something that you finally want. Now, with the Two of Cups, this could be something that looks a lot different than what you think. And, he isn't accepting this cup. He's got his arms folded because he's been disappointed so many times before. So if you get an offer from a person, I think that this is saying that it could be very good, but you're going to have to give it a chance. I think the solution is just don't rush. Don't give everything up front, right? And take your time and you'll be fine. You have the Fool. Definitely some sort of leap of faith that is going to have to be taken here in this connection. The interesting thing about the Hermit is that you go from the Hermit down to the Fool right here. The Hermit kind of has to take a leap of faith. He also has to shine his light, right? So if you are taking a leap of faith into a connection, I feel like the Fool is saying you're going to have to enter into this connection with pure intentions, meaning that you're going to have to be willing to be vulnerable and you're going to have to show who you truly are. And if you do that, I think things will go very well. I think just in general, with the Fool showing up in this reading, in general, it's time for a new beginning. Or there is some sort of big new beginning. I mean, your life could be very different this time next year, especially with all this new beginning stuff. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Temperance card. Yeah, patience, literally. So be patient with a person, even if you know that you're going to marry this person. Don't marry them after 1 month, right? Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. There's no rush. And I definitely got that feeling off of the Knight of Swords. With the Four of Cups, you have the Ace of Pentacles. Yes, Ace of Pentacles is my card of the path to marriage. So, again, this could be a very strong connection. Ace of Pentacles, like a garden, though. There's a garden right in the front of the Ace of Pentacles. It says you have to, water it, feed it, fertilize it, give it sunlight. You have to take care of this situation, and as long as you do that, things will go very well. This could also be great for work relationships as well. So if you are looking for people to work with, or if you're joining a new company or business, you could be forming a lot of great relationships through work, through something new, probably. With the Fool, you have the Eight of Pentacles. There you go. I mean, work relationships, plain and simple, with the Eight of Pentacles. The other thing with the Eight of Pentacles is the Eight of Pentacles represents straightforward, diligent work. And so if you are getting into a new relationship, love relationship, between now and this time next year, the Eight of Pentacles says, stick to the basics. Don't overcomplicate things, right? He's just focusing on doing one thing at a time, and he's keeping it simple. And that's exactly how I would treat any new connections. I would just stick to the basics. And if they start overcomplicating things, I would talk about it, right? I would call it out. And if you do that, I think things will go very well. So I would just stick to the basics. You have this Moon card that says changes in your life. Obviously, again, I'm not trying to be clickbaity here, but I do think your life could be very different this time next year. It seems to me like there's something that you're releasing, obviously, and you're just stepping into a new time. So, a lot of changes. You have this Carrot card that says opportunity or windfall. Clearly, Ace of Pentacles, Emperor twice, we talked about it. 3 aces in this reading. So the carrot, when we have a carrot in the ground, we only see the garbage up top, the green part. We don't see the good stuff underneath, right? And there is a little bit of that energy in this reading where it's you're going to have to give something some time. Maybe that's why the Knight of Swords is saying don't rush. And it doesn't even have to be love. This could be anything in your life. It's you have to give something some time to discover what's below the surface. High Priestess as well. High Priestess, she has that tapestry behind her. She has to peek behind the curtain. She has to, dig into the ground. She has to, pull something up and actually look at it and see what she has grown. So, again, there you go. You have this Grapes card that says time to go out and have fun. Yes, we talked about this with the Hermit and some of the other stuff here. I think it would be a great time for you to invite more fun in your life. You have this Wheel card that says indecisiveness, allowing your life to ramble aimlessly. 7 of Cups. Clearly, this is about making a choice, making a decision, and making it happen. So no more overthinking. You have this Goldfish card. It says increase in material wealth or spiritual growth. Love it. Yes, both. I feel like both in this reading. You have great financial cards in this reading. You also have great spiritual cards in this reading. So you could really be growing on a very deep level in both areas of your life, like trusting your intuition more, but also growing your finances. You could be growing your finances by trusting your intuition, right? Again, there could be, it could be like an intuitive opportunity. Like I said, an idea. An idea is nothing. And so ideas can come to us intuitively, and that's what I would be paying attention to for your finances. But I like this, Capricorn. It looks really good. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.